The movie begins in the Punar province of Afghanistan, where Tony Stark is casually conversing with soldiers in a Humvee. Tony, a playboy philanthropist and the visionary CEO of the leading military defense contractor, is soon ambushed by a group of terrorists known as the Ten Rings. During the attack, Tony is injured by shrapnel from one of his own company's weapons and is captured by the terrorists. The story then shifts to 36 hours earlier in Las Vegas, where we see a glimpse of Tony's successful past. A brilliant mind, Tony quickly rose to prominence, becoming the youngest CEO of Stark Industries after inheriting the company at 21, following the tragic death of his parents in a car accident. Initially, his father's friend and business partner, Obadiah Stane, took over as interim CEO, but Tony soon assumed control. In Las Vegas, Tony dazzles the audience with a presentation, but when it's time to receive the Apogee Award, he is notably absent, leaving Stane to accept the honor on his behalf. Tony, engrossed in gambling at a casino, is approached by journalist Christine Everhart, who questions him about Stark Industries' involvement in weapons manufacturing. Tony deflects her questions, stating that the world will always need weapons to maintain peace. The next morning, Tony's assistant, Pepper Potts, reminds him of his scheduled trip to Afghanistan. After departing from his mansion, Tony heads to Stark Industries' aviation division and boards a plane with his friend, James Rhodes. Upon landing in Afghanistan, Tony is greeted by military personnel and proceeds to present Stark Industries' latest innovation, the Jericho missile. He explains that the missile's destructive power is so great that it would only need to be fired once to eliminate any threat. After a successful demonstration, Tony enjoys a celebratory drink before boarding a convoy vehicle to return to the base. However, the convoy is suddenly attacked by insurgents, and Tony is severely injured. The narrative returns to the present, where Tony is undergoing surgery to remove shrapnel from his chest. He awakens to find an electromagnet attached to his chest, powered by a car battery. Yinsen, a fellow captive, explains that the electromagnet is preventing the shrapnel from reaching his heart. Their conversation is interrupted by the arrival of Abu Bakr, the leader of the Ten Rings, who demands that Tony rebuild the Jericho missile. Tony refuses and is subsequently tortured. The terrorists then show Tony their extensive stockpile of Stark Industries weapons, and Bakr promises him freedom in exchange for building the missile. Knowing that Bakr would never keep his word, Tony agrees but secretly begins work on a powerful electric generator called an arc reactor to power his electromagnet. He confides in Yinsen his plan to build an armored suit to escape. As Tony and Yinsen work on the suit, they are interrupted by Raza, the leader of the Ten Rings, who, suspicious of their intentions, threatens Yinsen. When the suit is nearly complete, the Ten Rings discover their plan and launch an attack. Yinsen sacrifices himself to buy Tony time to power up the suit. Enraged, Tony fights his way out of the cave, using the armored suit to defeat the terrorists. He finds Yinsen in his final moments, who urges Tony not to waste his life before passing away. Tony destroys the terrorists' stockpile of weapons and flies away, but the suit crashes in the desert. He is eventually rescued by his friend, James Rhodes. Upon returning to America, Tony reunites with Pepper Potts and Obadiah Stane. He calls a press conference to announce that Stark Industries will no longer manufacture weapons, having seen the devastation they cause in the wrong hands. Stane, alarmed by Tony's decision, tries to downplay the announcement and urges Tony to reconsider. Tony insists on focusing on arc reactor technology, showing Stane the miniaturized reactor powering his own chest. Back at his Malibu mansion, Tony asks Pepper to help replace the original arc reactor, which she keeps as a memento engraved with the words, "Proof that Tony Stark has a heart." Tony then begins working on an upgraded version of his suit, the Mark II, capable of controlled flight. During a test flight, Tony attempts to break the world altitude record, but the suit freezes at high altitude and nearly kills him. After adjusting the suit's design to prevent further icing issues, Tony notices a news report about a charity event hosted by his company. Despite not receiving an invitation, he decides to attend. At the party, he is confronted by Christine Everhart, who reveals that Stark Industries has been supplying weapons to the Ten Rings since Tony's return. Tony confronts Stane about this, and Stain admits to having orchestrated Tony's removal from the company. Enraged, Tony returns home, only to see news coverage of a massacre in Yinsen's homeland carried out by the Ten Rings. Driven by fury, Tony dons his new suit and flies to Afghanistan, where he obliterates a group of Ten Rings militants attacking a village. The battle catches the attention of Rhodes and the U.S. military, prompting an aerial pursuit. In the ensuing dogfight, Tony accidentally destroys one of the jets, but manages to save the pilot before escaping. Meanwhile, the Ten Rings recover the remnants of Tony's original suit, and Raza hands them over to Stain, who betrays and kills the terrorists. Stain orders his scientists to reverse engineer a new suit from the wreckage. Back home, Tony asks Pepper to hack into Stark Industries' database to uncover evidence of arms trafficking. Pepper discovers Stain's involvement in the illegal activities and learns that Stain had hired the Ten Rings to kill Tony. Narrowly escaping detection, Pepper passes the information to Agent Coulson and his team. When Stain's scientists fail to replicate Tony's arc reactor, Stain confronts Tony at his home, paralyzes him with a sonic device, and steals the reactor from Tony's chest, leaving him to die. Tony manages to save himself using the original arc reactor and heads to Stark Industries, where Stain, now equipped with his own suit, attacks Pepper and the agents. Tony confronts Stain, but his suit is underpowered without the upgraded reactor. The two battle, with Tony ultimately instructing Pepper to overload the large arc reactor at the facility, causing a massive surge of energy that defeats Stain, who falls into the exploding reactor. The next morning, Tony holds a press conference to address the previous night's events. Agent Coulson provides him with a cover story, but Tony abandons it and instead declares, "I am Iron Man." In the post-credits scene, S.H.I.E.L.D. director Nick Fury visits Tony at his home, revealing that Iron Man is just one part of a much larger universe. The movie ends with this revelation, hinting at future developments.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more great content, and click the bell icon to get notified whenever we post something new. See you next time.